The Book of Revelations is a book which many people approach as a book of mystery. It's a book filled with angels, demons, dragons, and all sorts of things that sound like they may have come out of your favorite adventure series instead of the Bible. So the question really is, what is the Revelations all about? How should we read it? In order to first understand Revelations, we need to understand some things about its background. Revelation means unveiling, as in there was something we at first didn't understand, but now we do. Specifically, though, is the unveiling of Christ. And this is important to remember. Most people want to make revelations about the end times, which it may or may not be. The most important thing to remember is that this book is supposed to reveal Jesus to us. Secondly, it was written by the Apostle John, the same John that wrote the Gospel of John, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. He wrote the Revelation while on the island of Patmos, except it looks more like this, as a prisoner. John most likely wrote the book around 90 AD. The Roman ruler at this time was Domitian, and while he started out as a relatively good ruler towards Christians, by the end of his rule, around the writings of Revelations, he was regularly murdering Christians. But he did this to anyone who wouldn't follow Roman religion, not just Christians. The other option for the time of the writing of the book was 63 AD, during the rule of Nero. This view is generally only held by those who believe that the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70 is addressed in the book. Now it's time to move on to who this book is addressed to. They are the 7 churches. They are Ephesus, the church that had forsaken its first love, Jesus; Smyrna, the church that would suffer persecution; Pergamon, the church that needed to repent of following false teachers; Thyatira, the church with the false prophetess; Sardis, the church that had fallen asleep and woken up; Philadelphia, the church that had endured patiently; and Laodicea, the church that was lukewarm about their faith. These 7 churches were in a bit of a circle, and it's thought that John oversaw these churches. Once the letter got to one church, it would over time be passed down the road to the next until they had all read it. And considering how to read the book of Revelations, there are 4 main views. Preterists, those that believe everything in Revelations is fulfilled by 312 AD when Constantine Christianized Rome. Amillennial, those who do not believe in a literal millennium exists and that one day Jesus will come back and set up his kingdom on earth. Premillennial, those that believe Jesus will come and rapture his people before the 1,000-year reign of tribulation, think left behind. And postmillennial, those that believe we're in a figurative 1,000-year period right now that began when Jesus went back to heaven. Over time, there will be more and more Christians, and eventually Jesus will return for the final judgment. Full disclosure, that's where Mr. Nate stands. Now let's look at the characters in the book of Revelations. There are 7 churches, Jesus established as the king, a lamb, 7 seals, 7 trumpets blown by 7 angels, a woman giving birth, a beast of the sea, and a beast of the land, 144,000 worshippers, 7 bulls, a harlot, a city called Babylon that falls, mourned over by kings, merchants, and sea captains, a harlot judge, a wedding, Satan, and finally the establishment of the new heavens and the new earth. Not to mention all the different angels and animals with different heads, horns, and hooves. Whew. While it's easy to get wrapped up in what all these things mean, and trust me, everyone has an opinion, the reality is that if we get so wrapped up in the differences between the bowls, seals, and trumpets, we might actually miss what Jesus is really trying to reveal. What Jesus is trying to tell us is, I'm the king, and the church is my bride, and no matter what happens in heaven or earth, I died for my bride so she can have life. As my bride, times will often be difficult, whether it's 90 AD or 3000 AD, but the truth remains. If you continue to believe in my name, one day you will see my face. And that day, every day after that, will be more amazing than you can imagine. So don't lose hope. This isn't the end. I'm coming for you. You see, the book of Revelations isn't just as much a book about adventure as it is a love story. There is no other religion on earth that claims to have a hero quite like our King Jesus. Finally, it's important to remember that while Revelation tells us a lot of stuff, the genre is called prophetic literature. As a result, we need to be careful not to take everything literally. After all, Isaiah 9:6 says, For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders. And while Jesus was literally born, he didn't actually have a role in government. And we're not the only ones to misread things like this. His disciple Peter was even ready to go to battle when he cut off Malchus's ear in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus wasn't doing things by an earthly standard, though. Did he rule the world? Absolutely. It's just when Jesus does things, it's often not how we think they'll be done. My guess is the second coming will be no different. And this is why the most important thing to do is what he told us to do. Love God and love people. After that, anything else might as well be a guess. At the end of your life, Jesus isn't going to ask you if you figured out who the Babylon in Revelation is supposed to be. He's going to ask you, did you love me? Did you love the people I put in your path? That's all he really cares about. It's not our place to know.
Created using Powtoon.